Hello guys, back out at the range today as promised with the Colt Combat Elite. We had some issues with this on our first range trip. It was very disheartening, as I had wanted a Colt ever since they started to remake the Colt, I believe back in 2020. I just didn't want the big, long, gawky gun, and when they introduced the Elite, it was on my radar. I finally picked one up. I was super stoked about it, got it out to the range. If you haven't checked out that video, go back, check it out. We were having an issue where when we would pull the hammer back, just in a single action, it would seize up the triggers, the cylinder, the hammer, just nothing would move. The only way I could get it loose was to hold the hammer, pull the trigger while pulling back on the cylinder release button, and finally, after all of that, we were able to get it to release, and we found that shooting the Hornady ammunition versus this Agula, I guess that's how you say it, A-G-U-I-L-A, which seemed to have a little bit thicker rim on it, but even with the Hornady, it was real catchy, if you will. You could tell that something just wasn't right. I'm gonna get my glasses out so that everybody that watches gun videos, just to critique what we wear, how we look, what we talk about, what we throw on the ground, and whether or not we choose our body, our choice to wear glasses, can shut up. I got my glasses on, and I'm not promoting bad habits. I have my ear protection here. I will be sure to put it in before I fire. And anyway, this is the first time back out at the range since I took this gun to the gunsmith, and the arm or paw, he said he's not sure what Colt calls it, he said it was a MIM part. There's a ton of MIM parts in here. That is kind of disheartening as well. He said it had a little bit too much material on it. Not sure if it was a burr or what it was, but he was able to shave a little bit of that material off, and now it seems to be cycling freely. You will see the first shots since then, as I have not shot this gun since that repair was made. I suspected it's going to be fine, but we're going to find out together here. And I also brought some HSM cowboy load. I know it's probably punk rounds, as you all often tell us, you know, that we've got some punk rounds, but it was the the hottest stuff that I could find in a moment, as it's not typically easy to find .357 Magnum in our area. Also piss some people off with this. I have a Taurus that I brought with me, a Taurus 357. It's the tracker, the one that has the 9mm cylinder. And I've put so many rounds through that gun that I just kind of quit cleaning it. I'd bring it out, have a little fun with it, throw it back in the safe, and it has been completely flawless from day one. So I don't know what totally that means, but I'm going to do a comparison between the two. But for now, let's just be honest with you, I'm a little bit paranoid, you know, having to take my $1,400 gun to the gunsmith, having not shot it yet right here on camera. Maybe it is a good thing that I decided to put my eye protection on. So and I'll say another thing too. I kept noticing when I was out here at the range that my rear sight kept moving. It is an adjustable rear sight for windage and for elevation, and I noticed that it had this little set screw on there, little Allen set screw. And so I was like, okay, maybe that wasn't tight. So I tightened it down, made sure it was really tight. 10 or 12 shots, it would be loose again, and the sight would be moving. And so the only way I could get it to stay still was to put a little dab of Loctite on there, and that seemed to do the trick. Again, I don't know, man. That's just, I'm a little bit sour. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit sour about the whole thing, but we're standing here at about 12 yards. Gonna take a few shots at the steel and hope for the best. Well, everything went well. Didn't seem to be catching it all, so I'm going to say that they must have got the issue fixed. I'm going to run a little bit of the cowboy action through here, see if it hits any harder, see if it feels any different at all. I'm sure it don't hit as hard as the stuff you've loaded up in your basement, as people often tell us. I imagine how these people are in my mind. You know, sitting there like, oh boy, you got this punk ammo in there. I loaded stuff hotter than that in my grandpa's basement after Vietnam. You know, I don't know why people do that, but again, the hottest ammunition that I could find in a moment's notice, I'm gonna see that if it hits any differently, if I guess it'll handle it, because again, it's probably not the hottest stuff there is, but let's just see what we got here. Actually feels a little lit. Definitely made a lot more smoke, didn't it? Didn't really feel a noticeable difference to me anyway on the recoil. It felt, I mean, it's nice. It's nice. It's fun to shoot. It definitely manages the recoil very, very well. And once I got that rear sight situation figured out, it doesn't seem like it's moving or it's loose anymore. I'm not sure if Loctite is something you're supposed to do. I'm not totally sure about that. We're just going to run some more ammunition through it. Maybe do it from a double action now. Again, paranoid. Yes, a little bit sour, as I feel like I have a right to be. I mean, it was not a cheap gun, and when you have cheaper guns in the safe that are the same caliber and everything, yes, of course, it's going to make you a little bit sour that you had problems with it. But again, I'm not out here to trash the gun. It does feel really nice in the hand. It does feel like a quality made piece. And the double action trigger is phenomenal, definitely better than my Taurus. Even the single action trigger is better than my Taurus. But again, I had no issues with the Taurus. And I know there's all kinds of online forums that will not even allow you to speak about a Taurus, but my experience is that my Taurus revolvers have been fine, so, and they were literally a fraction of the cost. That is a really nice double action trigger. I'll give them that. It is a nice smooth trigger. Don't think they have to take anything off, any material off to make it a nice trigger. It is a nice double action trigger. I'm not sure what the pull is on it, what the pertinent information is on that, but it is a nice double action trigger. Let's shoot some of the cowboy load from the double action here and see how it is. Something else again on my Taurus is after I shoot about 15-20 rounds, it does become exponentially more difficult to put the rounds into the cylinder, and they don't want to really drop free. So I'm sure that it's a better build quality. I'm not trashing your precious Colt if you're a Colt fan. Forgive me if it comes across that way. Definitely was not as accurate with that stuff. But anyway, okay, so now that I actually get to enjoy the gun, because I don't have any fear. Again, I don't feel any sticking. It feels like the joy that everyone else says that the Colt revolvers were to shoot. It now feels like the quality it was. It only cost me a half tank of gas and $30. So, you know, I guess I'm okay with that. What did I put in there? Well, that round got hit. I'm not sure if it was a light primer strike or if it was a bad round, but it definitely got hit. We might be coming up on another problem. Let's see what we got here. We'll lay that one down. We'll try it again here in just a second. You know, I hope it ain't nothing wrong with a light primer strike. But I don't know, I feel like this is quality ammunition. Let's see what we got here. Okay, let's try this round here that didn't load. It's getting a little bit sticky now. Let's try this round here that did not fire. See how she does. So I don't know, it fired that time. Definitely seems to be a larger indention in the casing. Not sure if there was a light primer strike. I guess the only way to find out is to keep on shooting. We'll put some of the cowboy load in here. Maybe do a little rapid fire with it. So that seemed fine. I don't want to sit here and do this all day and bore you guys with continuing to just shoot rounds and not really saying a whole lot. But today, other than and I don't know if it was a light primer strike or not, I will say that when I hit it the second time, it does seem as though the indention on the primer was a lot more defined. It could just be because I hit it twice. I don't really know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the camera off. I'm going to finish shooting all of this ammunition here because I need to feel as though it's going to function for me, because I would like to maybe carry this thing around in the truck with me. So I'll be right back with you guys. Well, there you have it, folks. I put 100 rounds HSM Agula. I know I'm not saying that right. I know I'm not. And I know I'm going to catch hell over it, but it is what it is. I put 100 rounds. I actually was playing a little bit off camera, and I actually put a couple of my Hornady rounds through there as well. And I also shot a little bit of 38 special. And other than the one round, you know, I want to call it a light primer strike because when I put it back in there and shot it or pulled the trigger again, it went bang. So I don't know if it was the ammunition or not. So I guess the jury's still out. Now that happened early while I was shooting. That happened in like the first, 2 or 3 cylinders. And again, I've put about 75, 80 rounds through it since then without an issue. No more light primer strikes. Everything feels to be functioning fine on it. It doesn't feel like it's hanging up anymore. It doesn't feel catchy. Everything feels good. Feels like a good double action trigger now. A good single action as well. Everything seems fine. And I guess, again, as you would expect, I am a little bit bitter. It was a $1,400 revolver. It was kind of a nostalgia purchase for me. Something I really, really wanted. And to come out and to have to take it immediately to the gunsmith, to find out it was full of MIM parts, and also to have to pay $30 plus a half tank of gas to have it fixed, yes, I am a little bit sour. And I was hoping that I would come out here today and I would not have a single issue. And for the most part, I suppose that I didn't. As again, I'm not sure if that was the ammo. This is not necessarily low quality ammunition. This is pretty good ammunition. Always had great success with it in the past. So I don't know if it was the ammo or if I did indeed get a light primer strike. I just know that after 80 rounds, beyond that, there were no more issues. So that's all I can really speak to. So I guess I'm still happy with it. I'm still going to want to shoot it some more. I know that I am because I'm just paranoid. And Trey knows that I'm very, very hard on a firearm and its reliability. And typically if I have a single issue at the range, Trey will say, well, how much you selling it for? Like, what do you want for it? You got rid of some really good guns because it had one little hiccup, and I just don't get it. But that's typically how I am. I'm very hard on it. I want it to be reliable. I want it to go bang when I pull the trigger, and it is what it is, right? So I probably will shoot this a good bit more just to make sure that I feel comfortable with it. I'm not sure what was up with that one little strike there. If it was like, again, 80 rounds since, it hasn't happened. I suppose it could have been the ammunition, but just looking at the indention on the primer versus the indention that was on the primer of the other casings, it did look as though it was hit a lot lighter. Now, I guess maybe that could be a hard primer. I'm not really sure the situation, but it has been flawless today. Sorry for rambling on. We put about 120 rounds through it today with just the one little primer strike thing. No more hanging up. Feels great, feels solid. Everything about it seems fine. So I am happy today that my $1,400 revolver is functioning, and I feel like I can trust it. The rear sight hasn't moved anymore, and I am becoming more and more accurate with it as I shoot it. So that is the follow-up to the initial what was wrong with this gun video. We thank you guys so much for watching. As I've mentioned already, please go over, check out gsquaredtactical.com, pick up some gear, buy a little something. Nothing on there is really expensive, and it helps us out a ton to be able to keep putting up these videos. Hit the thumbs up, make sure you subscribe. If you think you have, make sure that you certainly are, because YouTube is randomly unsubscribe people for some reason. Make sure you're still subscribed, and just let everyone know where they can find the best, most honest, blue collar YouTube gun reviews, and be blessed. And thanks again for watching.